Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1992's Death Magic. Death Magic. Wow. I'm blocking this girl's boobs here, and look at the back. You know what's fascinating about this cover is that it actually represents the film. It actually represents the film. Look at that. This actually represents the film. Death Magic. What a title. Oh, I just love it. I'm obsessed with like the font of it, and I'm obsessed with the title. Yeah, it's just so good. So this is 1992. Somebody recently said to me, I would expect that movie to be from the 70s, and I can see that. You're going to see my eyes divert because I do have some notes here. Now, Death Magic is a shot-on-video film that looks dark at times, where you can barely make out some things, just like when you were renting VHS tapes from your local mom and pop video store that allowed, unrated fare, not just Hollywood blockbuster fare, R-rated stuff. So something like Death Magic going, from creator to consumer, going straight to the video stores, way past the MPAA. And it has that look, because there's elements that are, I mean, this is as clean as it'll ever be on this Blu-ray, but it has a darkness to it that I'm certain on VHS it always had, in certain scenes especially. But this is an example of just wonderful diamond in the rough, wonderful ambition. And we're going to talk about it here. So some of the things we have here, right? We have the Old West. What? Did you expect me to say that? The Old West. Black magic. The connection between history and the present time. You almost have, in a way, just an element of a horrific Back to the Future, in a way. And history is always connected to the present. This YouTube channel, really, in a way, is, especially the vast majority of the films on here are somewhat older, or they're not brand spanking new, and brand spanking modern. But part of the idea of this YouTube channel is to embrace history of movies. And if you embrace history of movies are time capsules of societies, culture, religion, times, psychology, everything of humanity. And it's a beautiful thing. And so I've called this YouTube channel an encyclopedia of sorts. Well, it's an encyclopedia of outcast films that sometimes might represent our beautiful, like our just human history, better than other types of films. Art and history. Art represents history. I actually believe that art is maybe the most important thing ever, because it is just creativity, imagination, core essence of human beings, and freedom. So we have history connecting to the present. We have the idea of conjuring up things. We have the occult, arcane books, and a spooky library. A couple spooky libraries. One of them you break into at night, spooky library. We have bloodletting in here. As a matter of fact, We have a lot of blood in here in general. Symbols written in blood. Gunshots that are pretty brutal, actually. Stabbings, also brutal. Slicing, hanging. Pretty violent movie in here. Decapitation, gore, and blood. Wow. You know, for some odd reason, when I first watched Death Magic, I didn't know. I don't know. Something in my head said, "Oh, this isn't going to really be too horror, too much of the horror. It's going to be more like maybe like Dungeons and Dragons or something." You know, that's kind of what I was thinking. But this is a horror film. This is a horror film, and we also have an essence of other things, but I'll talk about that in a sec. But lots of boobs in here. Now, if you are a fan of breasts, if you're a fan of natural breasts, you're going to love this film, and not just some quick shots or quick side shots. I mean, you do have some amazing cleavage in here, but if you're a fan of really spending time with them, okay, and each girl's unique breasts and spending time with them. Sometimes you're looking at the girl and you're thinking, "Oh, I wonder, you know, I wonder what her breasts are going to look like in the film." And there you go. You're going to get them in Death Magic, and you're going to be able to experience them all. Now, we have ritual nakedness as well in this film. Yes, part of the ritual is getting naked. We have a killer of Native Americans, which is quite evil and brutal, let me tell you. Lots of smoke and red hues in Death Magic. And not just fog. I don't mean fog. I mean smoke. Conjuring smoke. Smoke pouring out of, you know, orifice, like out of the ground, out of a hole in the ground, you know, almost like the gate, but more, you know, uh, figures in red emerging from smoke, just like this picture right here. Death. I mean, it's in the title. Death, definitely. This is like a slasher, supernatural, occult western. What? It's almost like if you mixed some occult, sleazy, black magic horror film with Back to the Future Part 3. Now, the score in this film is absolutely unreal. Maybe the best score I've ever heard to date in a shot-on-video film. It sounds like a synth, sorry, I have a lisp, a synth orchestral 1980s horror score. It moves throughout the whole film, and it's ominous and atmospheric and so nostalgic horror. It gives you those cozy, creepy, late night video store vibes, if you catch my drift. And it's expertly done, and it makes you feel a certain horror way. It's amazing. Nostalgic. Yeah, nostalgic horror. You know, there are spells in this film, which you probably could have guessed. And see, this is where, when I was saying a little bit earlier, oh, I didn't know it was going to be, you know, totally a horror film, you know. But there are other elements to this horror film. It's mystical, role-playing games, sorcery, horror vibes, you know, almost 1980s Nintendo game vibes. Some of the games you'd play, you know, those types of vibes, even with the score too. But you get, this is mystical. It's you know, some sorcery and, you know, death magic. And it's surprising. It's surprising, the violence and the gore in the film too. Really surprising. And to have a villain that is both a connection from from history to the present and the Old West, supernatural, colliding with the occult. Let me tell you, this is this 1992 film really gives you an atmospheric world.